Levels are solid.
Okay.
So no weird changes from what normally happens when we're
I got my other monitor to work again.
From when we usually do Zoom. I know there's usually like weird audio level issues. Not this time, YouTube. All right, it's 2.5 minutes here.
Two and a half? What are we waiting so long for? I don't need 2.5. I'm ready to fucking go. Let's roll. Where are we at? Why is it not?
I mean, I can roll to next screen at any time. I feel like.
Here it is. Found it.
So if you're ready, then mute up.
I don't know what else I can do to prepare right now.
Yeah,
You know?
we got this. We got this. As long as look, right now, top 5. That's what we got to worry about. All right, mute.
Is this because of the duck thing?
Maybe.
I've not taken this hoodie off in a month and a half. Is this because of the duck thing?
Maybe.
I've not taken this hoodie off in a month and a half.
And then when you're done, you feel the most shamed ever. There we go.
Always professional.
What the fuck is even happening?
Classic sort of story. It came out to high critical acclaim, and it's Pokemon Snap.
If you press the tape,
Like, what is going
buddy,
on?
I was on edibles. Not a pornography. This is a podcast.
And you got the name wrong again.
I like your duck shirt.
Thanks. It's a duck.
Welcome to another episode of Two Dads and a Podcast.
The podcast.
The horror
Did I do that
show.
Did I do it right?
We are. I think so.
Doing our last week of Halloween celebration episodes.
Yes, and it's an exciting week. We get to discuss our top 5 horror villains. Last week we had our 10 through 6, and they were all really fun, really great. Really excited for this week. I believe.
Right.
Did you start last week?
No. I made you start last week.
Okay, well, it's your turn then.
All right. So number 5, coming in number 5 for me is a classic first appearance in the Red Dragon movie, but that was with Brian Cox. Was it?
No,
yeah, Manhunter was Brian Cox. I think that was like 87. So the book Red Dragon was nope. I was wrong about Manhunter. Manhunter was 86, not 87. So that was Brian Cox.
Get on with it. Come on, man.
The book Red Dragon in 91 had this character first, and then we know him best from the movie.
The book was in 81.
Sorry, 81. The movie's 91. Dates are complicated.
Well, there's a whole lot of complications going on with this because the Red Dragon movie was 2002.
Wasn't until 2002.
But the first movie, which we're going to talk about this because it's going to give it away immediately, The Silence of the Lambs was 91. The book was written in 81.
That was the second movie because the first movie was 86, and that was called Manhunter, and that was with Brian Cox.
So a very confusing string of movies and novels.
Anthony Hopkins. Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
As Hannibal Lecter. That is my number 5. Now, this isn't, most people don't think of Hannibal Lecter when they're thinking about serial killers in horror movies, because
it's a psychological horror all the way through, man.
He only had like what 9 minutes in the first movie total.
I don't know, something like that.
But that's all you remember. That's all you remember is that he's in the movie the whole time, like constantly. No, he actually wasn't. But that fucking character was so memorable that it's like it does the opposite for Jared Leto's Joker, where you're like, I swear Jared Leto's Joker's just all over this fucking movie and it's horrible. But he's really not. He's only in it for like 4 minutes. Sorry, I took that back to Zack Snyder somehow. I don't even know.
You always do.
I'm doing with my life.
You always do.
No, but that's a great character.
6 degrees of Zack Snyder.
Because he, like you said, is psychological. He is so often, quote unquote, like he flirts with the good guys so often. He flirts with that side. He helps them out. He solves crimes with them in the TV shows. He's not even incarcerated in the second movie.
But dude, I believe he's fucked up. He's mentally disturbed. He's cannibal. Like,
he just needs a nice all he needs is a fava beans and a nice Chianti. I mean,
like, dude is messed up. Hannibal Lecter is truly messed up, and he truly gets into your head just as a true villain. You know, he eats the flesh of his victims. You know, he is able to use. He's able to get into your mind.
He's so narcissistic. He feeds his victims, his other victims, or in the case with Ray Liotta, feeds him his own brains. You know, it's fucked, and it's awesome.
And he's such an intelligent villain as well. You know, he's so smart. You know, he's able to literally get inside his victims' minds and his patients, his enemies, everybody. He can just get right in there because he like literally uses psychoanalysis to just figure out what the hell to do. You know, it's crazy.
But he's the ultimate narcissist, and that's what usually gets in his own way. But so what's your number 5?
So my number 5 is John Kramer, otherwise known as Jigsaw.
Nice. He was on my list for the longest time.
And then you redid your list.
And the only reason I kicked him off was because at the end of the day, he was kind of a tool.
Well, I mean, look. The later movies, it really does end up just like, okay, well, what the hell are you doing? But I think that's just a side effect of it being later movies. Honestly, you know, they weren't near as good as the first.
Dude,
the first
I liked the way they rounded it off where, spoiler alert. See, I'm going to do it first, unlike you, where the guy who survived the first movie goes on to be the fucking man. You know, he goes on to be the hero and savior of the whole movie. And really, you've got like 10 years worth of movie, but they only cover a couple years, you know, until you get into the movies that pushes into the future 15 or 20 years or whatever. I think just called Jigsaw.
Yeah. I actually still haven't seen a Jigsaw, but I know the basis of it. You know,
but for me, honestly, this is a dude, like, he's brilliant, obviously, in the way he makes and designs things, but it's kind of like, wah, poor me, woe's me, oh, I'm dying. Yeah,
look, sure. There's that portion of it, but honestly, he's on my list just because of how fucked up the shit he puts people through is.
Yeah,
you know,
the first one's still one of the best.
Oh man, the first one by far. You definitely.
I mean, you watch it again. Like, I watched it a second time. I was like, this movie was boring. Come on, I've seen better than this. Then you watch it a third time, and you get like
you start noticing these little nuances and like how everything really pieced together and just how screwed up it is that these people literally wake up in a broken down bathroom and they have to saw off body parts and shit, dude.
And it's always like there are like it leads people like you go to the first, like, your first conclusion. This must be what I have to do, but that's not always the case. The second one like skeeved me out a lot, especially with the chick being thrown into the needles, and like the dude crawling into the thing that burned him alive. Like that one skeeved me out. And I can't say they were bad. I mean, you get one down the line where it was like almost like a Russian roulette thing with a shotgun, and these kids are on a spinning wheel or something. And this dude, in order to save their lives, he just has to mutilate himself, like with most things. But he could save everybody's life on that wheel if he did that. And these people are all personally connected to somebody, to him in a way. And he can't do it. So I mean, it's good.
I just love, like I've said numerous times, I love the psychological horror, and
right.
The Saw movies truly does that, on top of having that gore horror on top of it, and it's crazy, and that's why I had to have him in my top 5, because especially with the first one, you start watching it and it fucks with your head. It really makes you think, would I be able to do this in order to survive? I be able to, like...
No, I'd take the quick way out.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. My hands would go up against the... Nope. I'm good.
So, I like that. I like just how fucked up he is a true villain.
So my number 4 is one we've mentioned last week, and that is Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
This is like, if you watched it way too young of an age, like I did,
it messes you up, man.
Fucks you up for a long time. You do not sleep.
No,
for
man.
A very long time.
Why the fuck do you think we have insomnia now?
And with all the fucking endings that they had for this movie, like, this is one of the first time on accident they had like 14 endings in the first movie, and it wasn't even intentional.
But see, with a horror movie like that, it kind of fits, because it's like, oh god, thank god it's finally over. Nope, just kidding. More people die.
Right, and everybody has their favorite, and it really put Robert Englund on the map as far as horror movie actors go. This was one of the first one was one of, I think we mentioned, Johnny Depp's earliest roles, and it was just great. It was Wes Craven is fantastic at just sort of bending the rules of the time, of the era, and there hasn't been too many horror movies that stick out this uniquely, and then you meld in with Freddy versus Jason and shit like that.
Oh yeah, like it really expanded the universe, and he's another character, and I think I mentioned it last week, where he's such an iconic character that he's been in Mortal Kombat, he's been in other features as a pop culture reference, just as like.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he was in a comic book series. It was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which, honestly, not Ash Ketchum.
No.
We're talking about Evil Dead.
Yes, Evil Dead Ash. I don't remember his last name, but yeah, Evil Dead Ash.
Yeah, so. Army of Darkness Ash, not Pikachu. I choose you.
Pikachu, use Thunderbolt.
Oh, that would be great.
Pikachu.
So, yeah. No, it's fantastic. The guy, like, and just the backstory of him to begin with is just perfect. Serial killer. I mean, this dude is evil personified.
And his character design as well, like the burnt face and the,
Yeah, well, you're like, he already got the pun served. He got, everybody else got there, like, he got the ending he deserved, but he still comes back to fucking haunt people.
He didn't have enough. He didn't have enough. He didn't have enough
to fuck with kids. So it's great.
Nice. Well, that brings us to my number 4, and we just talked about him. It's Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured that'd be up there.
We don't have to go super in depth with this, but there's just something about Anthony Hopkins as in this character, and it's just so iconic. And if you haven't watched any of the movies, if you haven't read the book, whatever it is, learn about this character because it's fucked up. It's fucked up. All right. Well, I guess that's number 3.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Yeah, no, honestly, and even the TV show is worth checking out.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. The Hannibal TV show.
Yeah. If you're a fan, go watch it. I watched the first season.
There have been quite a few like adaptations of this. You know, you have The Silence of the Lambs, you have Red Dragon, you have Hannibal, you have Hannibal Rising, you have the TV series. Like there's so many different, you know, Hannibal Lecter related things. This character just took off after this, and it's fantastic. Go watch it.
Right.
Go read it. Do it.
Great reason.
Yes.
It did. And they always have fun with it. I know, I don't know who, there was a younger Hannibal in a movie. I don't remember the actor who played him. But then there's Mad Mikkelsen for the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Mads does a great job.
And look, if you think you have no idea who Hannibal Lecter is, it puts the lotion on its skin. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. You've heard that. You know this. All right.
So, what number? 3?
Number 3.
This is another one. Another early one. I think most of these early ones I'm talking about were most people our age's earliest like remembrances. And it's another one that we talked about last week, and it's Jason Voorhees.
Yes.
It's the fucking hockey mask, man. Which is crazy because he didn't even don the hockey mask till the 3rd movie.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean,
really,
the machete killer in the lake. I mean, that's just, it's so iconic. And this has inspired so many different horror films, and there's so much reference to it in so many other things.
In and of itself, it was a ripoff of a horror movie from a few years beforehand with Halloween. But they brought in the gore. They brought in that gore genre of slasher film, which was fantastic. And for me, especially the first one freaked me the fuck out, but nothing more than him jumping out of the lake at the end and pulling what's her name down into the lake. Like that freaked me the fuck out. And that scene, because that could have just been a one-off movie, a horror movie, but that scene where he jumps out of the lake and pulls her in, that opened up the doors, man. And this character has been fucking like where some people, the Ghostface, Mike Myers, they'll sneak up on you and stab you. This motherfucker stalks you, hunts you down, and just brutally mutilates you. And like you said,
in the best possible way.
He's a fucking supervillain, man.
Yeah, he really is. Like, he is truly a supervillain. So, well, my number 3. Here's Johnny. Jack Torrance.
Oh man, you're going all real people, like not real people, but all like just average Joes here on this one,
dude.
Like, no.
Well, not all, but there's just something about The Shining and Jack Torrance, and your iconic "Here's Johnny" line, and just the whole. He's driven to madness. He doesn't get possessed.
Was that Kubrick? Stanley Kubrick, was that a Kubrick film?
I don't remember. I know Jack Nicholson. I don't really pay as much attention to the the directors as much. I just know it was Jack Nicholson, and like he's in this hotel and he's just driven to madness. He just starts going fucking crazy, and he attempts to kill his entire family. He's going like completely fucking psycho. And
all I know is that they put Shelley Duvall through fucking hell in that movie.
Yes. Yeah, the whole axe scene, dude. I remember seeing clips of like Jack Nicholson trying to get into character for it, and he's going back and forth, and he just looks pissed off, crazy, angry. Like, I'm like, is he acting? Is he actually about to kill this woman? You know, it was crazy.
They physically, mentally, they put her through hell in that movie. Good movie. I mean,
great movie. But yeah, that I don't know, man. Jack Torrance, just he's a villain protagonist, and it truly is kind of oxymoronic with that. But I just love the psychological element of it, of, you know, him and his family alone in this giant hotel, and he goes crazy and becomes the villain, and it's crazy and good, and I like it, and yeah. There you go.
Well, I gotta expect that you at some point managed to work in oh fuck, what's his name's books?
Stephen King.
Yeah. Gotta expect you to work Stephen King in at some point.
Dude, he has so many iconic books and movies out there that it's kind of hard not to have at least one on your list.
So mine for number 2.
Number 2.
Mr. Gein himself, Leatherface.
Leatherface. Oh man, like our half of my 10 through 6 is your top 5. I like it.
Leatherface.
I like it.
Fuck. I mean that whole movie, the old. I saw the original first.
Oh yeah.
Right. It was like a couple years before the one that we grew up with came out. Yeah, the remake, and they were all terrifying. And
they were, man. It's amazing what they did with some of these old films and how they truly made it feel terrifying, and it still holds up today. You know, that's something that you don't get with some movies, is they don't hold up over time. But a lot of these iconic horror films, they truly do, and they're still scary despite the lack of CG and the lack of these crazy good effects.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, it was inspired by Gein. Ed Gein wasn't a hardened serial killer. You know, he wasn't chasing motherfuckers down with the chainsaw. At best, he was a grave robber that liked skin. At worst, he killed a few people.
Give me a skin.
Leatherface, fucking and the family was in on it. They would pop tires, take people out, set him up to do his fucking killing and shit. It was one of the original, oh no, having car problems movie, you know?
And then you get that like in 90% of horror movies nowadays. I feel like there's always something's wrong with the car. You got to get out to check on it, walk down the street, and serial killer's there. You know, it's a trope now.
Yeah, you think about these classic movies like Car Problems or Camping, like with Jason Voorhees or something. Teens camping. There's going to be sex, and the couple who has sex is getting killed first.
Oh, every time.
That's a trope. Every time. Breaking down, running out of gas, whatever. Stopping in at the convenience store /
we all know
gas
the guy,
station.
Yep. The guy who goes in there is like, oh, it's not a big deal. We'll be fine. Yep, you're dying.
The creepy attendant, you know, whatever. These movies started all those tropes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we're on to my number 2. And my number 2 is so iconic, and it has inspired a fear, a true phobia in so many people. And it's it.
Nice.
As in Pennywise the Clown.
Pennywise the Clown.
Oh, that's my goodness. Dude, I remember the mini series that, of course, they released later on as a full film as all together, but it was, you know, it was mini series first. And of course, what they did with the new remakes, right? What they did with the part 1 and part 2 was truly terrifying. Like Pennywise truly looked creepy in that. But just how
I loved part 1. Part 1 was awesome.
Oh man. I haven't seen part 2. I haven't seen part 2.
It was slower than it needed to be. But like I said, the original with Tim Curry, a lot of that movie was slow as fuck. So I'm not gonna criticize part 2 like a lot of people did for the news movies. Part 1 I thought was fantastic, start to finish. Part 2 had a lot of slow features, but I still liked it. It was a great movie. All of the It movies have been great.
Oh yeah, like with the original miniseries, especially when that came out, what was it, in 1990, and it was on TV, dude. How was that on TV? It was terrifying. It was creepy. You have this clown in fucking sewers. You all float down here. Just, oh man. And he's truly, truly horrifying.
I mean, I was going to put him on my list. I couldn't determine how to classify him because I think he's technically an alien. And to be fair to you, we didn't say no aliens.
No, it just had to be a physical being. And he is definitely a physical being. Those
movies are fantastic. I mean,
and he's creepy. And
whether you look at the original Tim Curry It or the new Skarsgård It, they're both terrifying.
They are.
I'm not going to say one beats the other one out. They're two different interpretations, 30 years apart, almost 25 years apart, from two different generations, and they both did a fantastic job at telling this story.
Oh yeah, well, 27 years, dude, 1990 to 2017.
I believe I said 25, 30. Yeah, I got that.
Did you say 30? I wasn't listening.
I said 30 first time, yeah. I just knew 30 was too many. I knew that was too many years.
30's too much. Dude, honestly, what really sets, especially like the Tim Curry one, because that's the one I remember the most because of, your kid. It just kind of burns into your brain. His super sharp teeth and just his mouth was so
smile.
big.
The things he did with his face.
Oh, man.
Which Bill Skarsgård does the same stuff on a different take, on a different level. And I didn't watch those movies till this year, actually, the new ones.
Oh, so nice. Yeah, the first one I really enjoyed. Like I said, I haven't seen the second one. I just haven't had the time to really sit down and watch it. But
they're good, man.
Yeah,
they're good.
So there you go. There's my number 2.
Number one.
What's your number 1?
For me,
curious.
Is a creature that disturbed me so much as a child that I couldn't even bring myself to watch the movie until I was into adulthood.
I'm your number 1?
And it's Pinhead.
Oh man. Just his design is so weird and it's great.
Seeing his face and his design, like you said, his design. Young, I was terrified of this creature. I was terrified of the whole movie. I was terrified of all the other characters in it. I didn't want anything to do with it for the longest fucking time. I don't really know a whole lot about Pinhead. I actually haven't seen the Hellraiser stuff. I'm guilty of that, and it's one that maybe one day we'll do a marathon and we can watch the Hellraiser stuff. I mean, they're great. Clive Barker is fantastic at making movies.
I said, just his design and the whole grid with pins sticking out at every intersection is so off-putting. It's so weird, and it just gives you the I don't like looking at this. That's all I know, and that's good enough for me to be freaked out by it.
Yeah, and this is another one that spawned so much off of it. This whole movie franchise. The comics were published, and it is all about just fucking crazy demons, creatures, fucking Pandora's box. It's a lot. It's a fucking lot. And it really keeps you invested when you go from movie to movie. 1 and 2 were great. They started to tail off as most movies do. But they didn't overdo it. They didn't overplay their hand in any one of them. So it was I loved them. What are you gonna say? Let's see. I'm counting down the movies, and it's another one where you got maybe about 9 movies spread out from
like I know
mid-80s
there's a
to
ton of stuff
all
with
the way to
Pinhead.
2018.
Yep. And he's also, so many of these characters have been in different video games and have like iconic roles in pop culture. This time of year you walk into a Spirit Halloween, you're going to see every single one of these characters featured at some point inside of that store.
Of them.
Or rip off of them every single year. And my number one is probably one of the most ripped off / iconic. And we talked about it last week with your list. And he's so iconic. He's so creepy. And it's Michael Myers. This is one.
The man.
He ended up being my number one for a couple reasons. So one, he's so quietly scary. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't talk. He literally just stalks you until he kills you.
Yeah. And the best part about like the original movies, which they try and emulate in every movie, it's the subtleties. It's the empty doorway. And then suddenly he just comes into focus in the background of that doorway, and you catch it for a moment.
You just catch a glimpse of him. Yeah. He is the boogeyman. And I love that. Everybody's scared of the boogeyman when you're a kid, and he is the boogeyman. He personifies what every child's fear is. Just, oh my God, there's something under my bed. Oh my God, there's something in the closet. There's somebody outside. And
not every Halloween movie did this as perfectly as the original, but just that we want to, and they talk about this in the making of the movie. They want you to, they don't show all the gore, they don't show all the stabbings, because they want you to use your imagination. They want your imagination to fill in that terror yourself, and they're so great at that.
It's
in this
that
movie.
Psychological element.
You scare yourself.
Exactly.
With what you fill in. And
he is the similar in level of like Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, where he is literally a supervillain. He's got crazy brute strength. He's incredibly smart. He's immortal. He apparently can hide in fucking plain sight. Like this is a D&D player, like a rogue D&D player's like wet dream. Being able to be this good at sneaking around, and then just boom, there he is. He's there to kill you, and he will straight up just kill anybody who gets in his way. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And like I said, he ended up being my number one for that psychological element, and just simply how iconic he is in pop culture, how iconic he is in the horror movie genre. You have so many ripoffs, so many, inspirations, whether it's The Mask, whether it's the Silent Killer, whether it's the Stalker. Like, he has helped develop so much of what we have now, and I love it. I love this time of year, dude. I'm so excited. I wish we could talk about even more villains and shit, but we had to at least do a top 10. We couldn't do more than that, because then we just, it gets too hard on us.
It wasn't the first serial killer movie. You had The Town, that dreaded sundown before that, and so many more like serial killer movies before it. But this one did it different. It set the stage for creativity and imagination to run wild, and we appreciate it for that reason.
100%. So there were a few that didn't quite make my list. You know, you have the Xenomorph.
Not here. Nope. No more.
Nope.
That was it. That was all of them.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. What didn't make yours?
So the few that I actually wrote down. So there was Ghostface from Scream.
Right.
I feel like he was a little too similar to some of the others, kind of mixed in. He's been parodied too many times.
It was a creative movie. I had like Damien, Otis, John Doe,
the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
If you guys
that one's freaky as all get out.
If you guys don't recognize John Doe, that's obviously from the 7 movies. Not movies, the 7 movie. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Right.
You know, the Cannibals from The Hills Have Eyes. That was one that, like, I kind of wanted to do another group because they were creepy as all get out. You know,
classic The Wolfman.
The Wolfman. The Thing, another classic, but it just didn't quite hit my list because it wasn't as scary as the rest of them. So
I think Candyman.
Oh yeah, and they just did that. Didn't they do a new movie with that or something?
Yeah.
So, guys, you know,
anybody from The Devil's Rejects, you know, House of a Thousand Corpses, any one of them could have been, you know,
the little boy from The Omen.
That was Damien.
It was Damien. There was also The Boy.
There's a movie that's I forget what the name of it is. It's on Netflix right now, but it's a horror comedy about this little boy who's kind of like a Damien boy, and it is hilarious and awesome.
I think I may have watched that with the missus at one point.
I can't remember the name of it right now off the top of my head, but it was a good one. So,
guys, if you have a favorite villain that we didn't mention, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, comment on the YouTube video. You can email us at 2dap2020@gmail.com. You can also hit up our Patreon if you want to help support us.
Next time on Two Dads and a Podcast.
Next time we have a real treat for this upcoming episode.
Oh, hang on. Let's redo that. I forgot. I have to.
Okay.
Next time on Two Dads and a Podcast.
On our next episode of Two Dads and a Podcast, we have a real treat. We are doing a movie to real life, or I guess we're calling it based on a true story.
Yes.
Of one of the craziest stories that many people don't realize was true, and that's the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
And not only is it true, like what happened, you know, just of course different names and shit, but it happened a lot more recently than you would imagine.
Right.
This is literally our parents' generation. So come in, hang out with us, check out the next episode. And as always, guys, thanks for listening.
We love you all.
I think that went pretty well.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that the closing being a little more organized with you doing all the rundown. I can always do the next episode thing.
Yep. I figured that's the way we can
nice and even
kind of do that together. And we switch over and we'll mute up and get ready.
Cool. Is this because of the duck thing?
Maybe.
I've not taken this hoodie off in a month and a half.
And then when you're done, you feel the most shamed ever. There we go. Always fresh. What the fuck is even happening? Classic sort of story. It came out to high critical acclaim, and it's Pokemon Snap.
If you press the tape,
Like, what is going
buddy?
on?
I was on edibles. Not a pornography. This is a podcast.
And you got the name wrong again. I like your duck shirt.
Thanks. It's a duck.
Welcome to another episode of Based on a True Story. The
The
podcast.
Exorcism of Two Dads.
And the casting of pods.
So today,
Oh man,
like this
So-
story.
So let me preface this with I literally just watched this movie for the very first time yesterday. Like I've never seen this movie, and I actually ended up not getting a chance to finish it. It was like 10 minutes left, because life happens as a dad.
The last 10 minutes kind of yada yada the whole thing, anyways.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Conclusion. In conclusion, this, man, what a messed up story, and what a messed up actual event.
When you realize, see here, okay, we have to say first of all, these are. This like you know what we just
let's just talk about it.
I say with the last couple, The Conjuring, and I'm extremely skeptical, and then the
Amityville horror,
the Amityville,
there's
extremely skeptical, but but you're talking
could have
about
happened, could have
stuff
not
flying through the air and all this stuff. These
Sure.
are accounts, firsthand accounts from families, and there are voice recordings
Oh yeah.
of a lot of this that you can find on YouTube. And we're talking, so The Exorcism of Emily Rose is the movie. Annalise Michelle is the person.
Yes.
In real life.
So the movie changes the names of everybody. And honestly, I don't mind that because saying Annalise Michelle over and over and over again would be quite a mouthful. Emily Rose has a good ring to it. Good for movies. But,
and honestly,
oh my goodness,
a lot of this movie is pretty accurate to what the accounts are, except for the very beginning. Now you get about right into the intro, you have a priest and he's called in this doctor and they're doing this exorcism. Now in real life, the doctor was not there.
No,
and
there were two priests instead of one.
Priests.
Yep.
Yes. And this wasn't one exorcism. This was
over what was it? 11 months. 11 months, and they did 67 exorcisms on this poor woman. This poor 23-year-old woman.
These exorcisms lasted up to 4 hours. So right there's some discrepancy between the movie and real life, and it's not like, oh, well, we beefed it up for the movie. No, they toned it down.
They toned it down a lot. Honestly,
extreme.
Man, this is giving me flashbacks from our Lord of the Rings. Why did you change the source material? It's so good.
That's so true. So true.
Oh my goodness. Man.
Another thing was they said, I think the lawyer said they didn't even believe that the priest was Catholic or anything like that. No, the family was devout Catholic.
Devout.
They
Absolutely.
tried for years to get the Catholic church to grant an exorcism of their daughter.
In the Catholic Church, you're not allowed to perform an exorcism unless you have permission from the bishops. This isn't the
comic book / TV show Priest where this dude just runs around fucking exorcising demons. You have to, the bishop of your area has to give permission. And
you mean the exorcism I did on my son the other day wasn't real? That didn't. Because I swear he was possessed. He was acting a demon.
You were just hitting him with a book, I think.
No, we do not condone child violence here. I love my son very much.
So eventually, Ernst Alt and Wilhelm Renz got permission to
are the real people. They're the real priests.
Yes.
These are the
They got
actual
permission to do
people.
these exorcisms, and they are actually Catholic priests.
Mm-hmm. And this took place in Germany as well. In the 1960s is when this happened.
So it's 67 is when the behavior, or mid 60s when the behavior of her started to become noticeable. And this is what the movie got right, is she was being treated for epilepsy and eventually depression and psychosis, and all of this is portrayed fairly accurately in the movie. The only thing that kind of they strayed from was they said that her and the priest decided to stop doing the medication that she was taking. I think that was in real life. That was more on her.
Yeah.
And
which
I don't.
You think it's a little crazy, if you think about it, but she felt that the medication for the epilepsy and with everything going on, it wasn't helping her. She wasn't getting better taking this medicine. And they truly portrayed that in the movie very well.
And so, one of the things the movie didn't portray very well is this family was deeply religious in real life.
Oh, yeah.
And Catholic mass a couple times a week. And
twice a week, every week, without fail.
This isn't a person who would have thought, well, I just need to get my prescription adjusted to account for my changing body or what I'm actually experiencing. You have to take time to let the medication settle in, and then you have to make adjustments. No, it was this medication isn't fixing the problem. So
for 4 years, there's a news article that ran when this happened. There's a news article from the New York Times in 1977 that talks about this, and she had this medical treatment going on for 4 years and nothing was helping.
Right. So eventually the other difference between the movie and the real life accounting is in real life, when she dies, she's 23 years old. In the movie she's 19. 18 or 19.
Yep.
So she's just starting out in college, and that's because they wrapped this movie up. The time span for the movie is
in 1 year
short.
Instead of 4. So when this actually started happening, so they got that right. She was on this medication for 4 years. She was 19 when she started doing this medication. Right. They just kind of summed up those 4 years into a single year in the movie, which I get.
They condensed it.
Yeah, you can't have a 4-year long movie. I wouldn't.
But the shit that happened was fantastic, and a lot of it is true. She went to school. She was in college and trying to. She thought she could be living a normal life, but she
would black out, walk around dazed, and not remember anything. Like she was in a trance.
That's all portrayed in the movie. A lot of that is portrayed in the movie. Honestly, some of what the movie portrayed wasn't even close to some of the crazy shit that was going on. The recordings they play in the movie, they have recordings.
God. Oh, I listened to some of these, and it is like the voices that she made and that was coming out of her was so guttural and just deep.
Look, I'm not saying that it doesn't sound like it sounds like it's coming from a woman. But if I were growling like that intently for that long, I would start coughing uncontrollably.
Man, I start coughing if I do the Gollum voice for 3 seconds, dude.
Right, and she was going on for the
hours.
One I listened to was well over 10 minutes of just a straight clip, no editing.
Oh yeah, yep.
And she didn't break. So the movie's going through this trial. The trial in real life did happen. I don't really know what happened in the trial, but I'm assuming what they portrayed in the movie is not at all accurate to the trial itself. They never are.
I mean, first off, in the trial, so in the movie, when they go to trial, you have the one priest when there was actually two. You have the family, they're calling people up. And in the movie, of course, they hype up with the trial, and they have a very religious lawyer as the defense. Well, not the defense. I can't remember the jargon.
Prosecutors and
but they have a very religious lawyer, and then you have the pretty woman who wants to make partners, so she takes on this high profile case, and it's the movie is really good. Honestly, those parts of the movie are just as good as the scary parts, and
it's an extremely interesting take on it.
Very,
an
very
Exorcism
much
movie. And the thing is, what the movie does very well to portray is, what the movie misses because they modernize it is when this was actually going on, you're thinking the Catholic Church rarely did exorcism. The
Very
exorcisms
rarely.
did not become popular until after the Exorcist movie.
Yep.
And so this wasn't just a well, this is happening all over the place.
This is pop culture. These are things happening. So, we have to do this.
67 exorcisms in a time where exorcisms were not thought to be an answer to anything seems extreme as fuck.
Yep. And so getting back into the real story. So with the movie versus the real story, Annalise, she's not getting better with the medication. So she starts to believe that she's possessed. It's her. It's not everybody else around her. She starts to believe that she is possessed. She's starting
not just possessed. She's possessed by 6 demons.
6 demons. And, she's seeing the face of the devil wherever she goes. So she's hallucinating. She's hearing demons telling her that she's damned and that she's going to rot in hell.
You've got Lucifer, Cain, Nero, Fleischmann, Adolf fucking Hitler, man.
Yeah.
She brought him. She invoked
and Judas.
His
name. So you have biblical people. You have Lucifer and Cain. You have Judas, which we all know the story of Judas. You have Adolf Hitler and Nero, who's one of the, honestly, it kind of the 6 that are named, and she names each one of these. And I listened to it. Obviously, I don't speak German, so I don't know what she was actually saying. But I read the subtitles and I listened to this exorcism session. And it is so off-putting. It is, honestly, it gave me goosebumps. It was so freaky. And the fact that she
voices
references
change, the personalities seem to change.
Oh yeah. And honestly, Nero out of all of them threw me off, because Nero is an ancient Greek emperor who he was pretty fucking evil. He would light fires just to put them out so he looked good. These 6 seem so random. Of course you have your biblical, but then you throw in Fleischmann, Nero, and Hitler. That's just...
Now in the movie they give you the classic sort of exorcist thing where she can torch her body and all this stuff. She did a lot of that. And the part in the movie that they get really well is the actress looks sickly. And
oh yeah, they did a fantastic job of portraying that.
At the time of Annalise's death, she was a 23-year-old 70-pound woman.
68 pounds.
Lost so much weight. And that's another part the movie got right, was she wouldn't eat.
Yep, she stopped. No. She ate spiders.
Right.
She
in real life, this isn't the movie.
In real life, we're not talking about the movie right now. She started eating spiders. She started doing all this.
All right, let's get into that. The movie, this was kind of where I was leading up to, where she would they did a good job making an exorcist thing, but in real life, she was eating hours. She would hide under the kitchen table and bark like a dog for 2 days straight. She would
bit
urinate
the head
on the floor.
Yep, she bit the head off a dead bird. She ate spiders and coal. Literally inedible shit, dude. Oh, the only thing that they showed in the movie was the spiders. They did show the spiders in the movie, and that scene in and of itself is...
And this is stuff she did in real life, and it's freakier. They have freakier shit than what they actually put into the movie. They tempered it for the movies.
Yeah, they calmed it down. Was this movie... I can't remember. Was this movie rated PG-13?
Probably.
I wish they did a rated R version. Because with how much more source material they truly had, it really could have stepped up. Oh, man.
So
just talking about it.
And by the end of this, she eventually passes away after 11 months, basically from malnutrition.
Yep.
Her body shut down. And dehydration. Her official cause of death. She was just too weak. She wouldn't eat,
her body shut down.
Crazy.
That's really what it boiled down to. Her body just shut down. It couldn't sustain itself. It couldn't heal the wounds and the malnutrition that was there.
So now there is culpability on her herself. She's an adult, but there was rise into question. Why did the priests not intervene, call for more medical assistance? Why did the parents? That's one thing that the movie doesn't really mention. The parents in the movie are just sort of like, oh, well, this was one exorcism gone wrong. Well, no, this was 67 exorcisms. So the parents were also tried. In real life, the priests were acquitted. But the parents, they were actually convicted.
That depends. I will say that does depend on what article you're reading. Because there's one that says that they were all charged but received light sentences. So it's possible there's just a mix-up.
The parents were eventually given time served.
Yes.
After all, I believe they said after everything they went through, it was deemed that they had already served a harsh enough sentence, which whether you agree with that or not, it is neither here nor there. I just think that's a vast difference from the movie where the parents are just there for to interview and talk to.
Yeah, man, this true.
But it's exhausting. This whole story is exhausting. It's so unbelievably interesting. And
it truly is. Go and read some of these articles. Listen to some of these clips from the recordings, and it is truly terrifying to listen to.
Some of the stuff she says for being such a religious person is fucking filthy and foul. and really haunting.
And, she would scream obscenity. She's growling. She's gurgling. And this is each session. Each of these exorcisms, it's the same thing going on and on. You would think she would completely lose her voice. She just wouldn't be able to make a sound after 67 of these things.
Yeah.
And it was every single time this stuff was going on. And this, with the exorcisms, they performed 1 to 2 4-hour sessions every week.
Yeah. I
know we're both just like, oh my God, I can't believe. And
I don't even, I can't even imagine what a trial for that would have actually looked like.
And honestly, it's one of those things that you really wish you were there to just see how this kind of played out. And, one of the really interesting things with this too is these demons, these spirits, these evil people who are possessing her. It wasn't just that they would come out and say things. No, they were literally at each other's throats. So while she's, saying all these crazy things and these spirits and these demons are coming out and talking, they're not just talking to the priest. They're not just saying mean things to the people in the room. No, they are literally fighting each other. They're infighting inside of her, according to what's going on in the recordings. Hitler apparently, was talking about people are stupid as pigs, and Judas says Hitler was nothing but a big mouth and had no real say in hell. So they're literally at each other's throats, which takes it to a whole new level.
This whole case has been just like a learning lesson for the Catholic Church.
Let me add one more thing in there that really did blew my mind. So from how often she knelt in prayer trying to get rid of these demons, she literally broke the bones and ripped her tendons in her knees. Yeah. And she still continued to kneel in prayer with broken knees. She would still do that.
This whole
there are pictures of it.
Yeah. Oh. This whole case has become a learning lesson for the Catholic Church. As always, put a positive spin on it, guys. That's what you do. It's her grave site is a pilgrimage site for people.
Yes.
When the movie came out, her mom fucking doubled down on this. Said they wouldn't have done anything different. Basically, is what they said.
I mean, I you know, you can tell, you know, both with the stories that you've heard, the articles you read, you know, she was part of a religious family. Religion oftentimes has a very close knit, you love your family, you're going to try to do anything for them. So, you know, it's kind of up in the air because we don't really know her family. We don't really know what's going on. But, you know, you can truly believe that hopefully her parents didn't want her to die, you know?
Right. It's a crazy story. There's so many more details that you can grab than we can cover on a half hour little podcast. But basically, we say all this to say that the movie did a very good job, and it's not often you get that from a movie. The movie did such a good job; it omitted some of the more terrifying aspects of this case. And whether she was possessed or not, that's for you to decide. Personally, I don't believe in possession. I believe in psychosis and stuff like that. But that's me. I don't fucking matter.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
This shit's crazy, though.
There's so many strange things and just weird shit that happen that it is truly hard to 100% say this was a medical thing. It's also truly difficult to say this was 100% a possession. You know, it truly is. Read what it is and decide for yourself. Like he said, you know,
and watch that movie because it's pretty damn
it is
good.
A really good movie. Yeah, it's a really good movie. But do yourself a favor, watch the movie and then look up these articles. historydaily.org has some really terrifying pictures to look at of her deteriorating. You know, both of her
different
eyes
steps.
were like practically solid black towards the end. Her face is sunken in. You know, it's hard to look at some of these pictures.
All That's Interesting has a really good breakdown and detailed article. I think that's the one that has some of the voice recordings, but you can look those up on YouTube also.
Yep.
Pretty easily.
And New York Times has an article that ran July 13th. They talked about it. This article was July 14th. The trial happened July 13th. So they literally ran this article the day after. And I think you actually got mixed up because from what I'm seeing, the two priests were found guilty of manslaughter from negligence and were sentenced, but it was suspended, and the parents didn't have anything happen to them.
Well, I'm just quoting the source that I read.
Well, I mean, we're both looking at the same source. All That's Interesting. And I quote, "The two priests were found guilty of manslaughter resulting from negligence and were sentenced to 6 months in jail, which was later suspended, and 3 years of probation. The parents were exempt from any punishment as they had suffered enough, a criteria for sentencing in German law."
Oh yeah, no, they were sentenced. They were found guilty, and then they were said, yeah.
They were exempt from any punishment, but the priests were also found guilty. But it was suspended. They weren't acquitted. It was suspended.
Oh, tomato.
So, but, oh man, I don't even know what else to say. There's really not much else to say other than watch the movie. Check this out. It's all this out of all of the based on a true story that we did for the Halloween season. This is the one that really takes the cake. It really is the closest, I would say, to being based on the true story.
Right.
while actually changing pretty much everything, everybody's names and locations and everything. Like that's one of the things that gets me. The other ones kept the locations and the names of the people correct, but they were so
and
far
embellished
off
on the facts.
But yeah, but they're so far off and embellished, where this one, they changed everything they could while keeping the story as close as they could. And
except for the times they had to go, whoa, that's a bit too
that's a little
extreme
too
for
much. Let's
a
back
horror
up
movie.
here. Yeah. Which you never thought you would hear those words. But guys, if you've seen this movie and you want to talk about it, you want to let us know if there's another true story that you want us to maybe visit sometime later on down the road, let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, comment on the YouTube video, or just email us at 2dap2020@gmail.com. You can hit up our Patreon if you want to help support the channel.
Next time on Two Dads and a Podcast.
Next week, we're going to have some fun. We've got some interviews we've been doing again.
Yes.
We're going to try and sprinkle some of those in. Not sure about the top 5 yet. That one.
I don't know if you guys have a suggestion. We sometimes don't decide our top 5 until the day before recording. So if you guys have a suggestion for top 5, let us know.
There you go. So that's about it.
But yeah,
For
check out the top
this
5.
week.
But really check out the interview for next week, because it is with somebody extremely special and like super fun interview. I can't wait to share that one with you.
for sure. It was great.
But as always, guys, thank you so much for listening.
Whatever I say in this part normally.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
I feel like that was a little shorter. Like I was trying to fill in more, but we blasted
that was
through
about,
the info.
The first one was about
35, 36 minutes.
Yeah, and this one was about half hour dead on, so
Yeah,
we nailed it.
Shouldn't have
We
to do
nailed the
much
timing.
editing for that one either.
Nope. Neither one, probably. I'll try and get the top 5 down below 30.
I mean, you'll be able to get that down with a couple little
I
things.
just
like
finished Squid Games.
I have
today,
not
I think.
watched it yet. I want to watch it, but
That's okay.
you know.
It'd have been better as a movie. There's a lot of filler.
Now, question:
TV
did
show.
you watch it dubbed or subbed?
I had both, and people are fucking retarded with this argument.
Well,
I literally, had somebody who was
not
like,
because I'm a pure. You know,
Right.
I'm not a purist. But did you watch it dubbed or subbed, or did you watch it through as like once each way?
I had both on at the same time.
Oh, see, I can't do that because often we talked about this before with anime, where they like don't match unless
Well,
it's
yeah,
like the
but there are
closed
times-
captioning.
No, they don't match, but there are times where I could hear just fine, but then there are times where a kid comes running through the room and I needed to read real quick.
See if your TV has a closed captioning option, because if it does,
I don't give a fuck.
It
It's
matches.
close enough to put them together.
that's fair. See, I plan on
no,
watching it dubbed.
There was somebody online, or there are so many people online like criticizing people who watch it dubbed, and the dubbed sucks. And like the only real way to watch to get the translation is to read the subs. And then I respond, the only real way to get the translation is to take
speak the
4-year
language.
Korean course to learn how to speak Korean and then hear it, because we're fucking dubbing it into English one way or another, you fucking tard.
Yeah.
This, like, you're still getting a translation. Every time they say sir, that's not what they mean in
Nope.
Korean. It's not
Nope.
like a sir. It's more of a polite way of talking
It's an
to
honorific.
another person.
As
there are
most Asian
some-
countries call it, it's an honorific. It's
And
kind of
even
like
there are
san or sama.
differences
or,
between where you're from. Like there's a word for and the Canadian Koreans use this one phrase that means I think it's achuma, and they say it as a term of endearment. Where down here in Ohio, if you say that to an older woman, you're going to get smacked because you're telling her she's an old woman, you know?
Well, it's kind of like, using san and chan and, sama in Japanese culture. They're honorifics is really what it is.
Right. So fuck you. Fuck your people who hate on dubbed shit. Like, who cares? The show, honestly, there's some great Korean horror out there. And the show wasn't bad. I think it would have been better as a movie because there was a lot of information in all those episodes I didn't need. But
also,
if you love it, watch Tale of Two Sisters. If you love Japanese horror, watch Audition.
Right on. And completely random, I actually meant to mention it during the podcast. I can next week. But anybody who's watching this VOD, anybody who's hanging out live, check out our videos, check out our shorts that we've been posting. We're trying to grow. I can't believe we're already up to 63 subscribers. We were at less than 50, a couple weeks ago. So I'm really happy with that. But those shorts are really helping us out. So make sure you're supporting and watching those videos. They're 15 seconds. No excuses.
Yeah, we're going to try and keep these ones as close to an hour as we can, unless we have an interview or a special.
Yep. So that's going to call it for us here. I'm actually not going to stream Evil Within tonight. We are down to the last couple days of our kitchen being done. So we need to clean up some stuff to get ready for tomorrow, getting the tiling and stuff done for our backsplash. All of our cabinets are up. It feels weird. We have a kitchen again. So, but all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hellhound, thank you so much for chilling with us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be here.
See ya.